Hey, what's going on, guys? Crazy Kev, welcome. Just gonna give this a few minutes, see who stops by. It's like Jeremy just jumped in. What's going on, man? Let me know if the video or the audio is not working very well. I'm in a hotel room tonight, so I don't know how this is gonna all work out. Hopefully, it goes just fine, but we will see. Right on. Thanks, man. So, what questions do you guys have? Hey, Meerkat. Good seeing you in here. Warren, what's going on, brother? Hey, here we go. Looks like now people are starting to join. Good deal. 2 for 21 on JMT rejections. So you got rejected again? Is that what happened? So looks like we've got a few people coming in. So one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about today, one of the questions that I got recently was a question about how I got into backpacking and what kind of drove me. And it got me thinking about a few different trips and things that came up. So one of the cool things is I grew up kind of out in the middle of nowhere up in upstate New York. And one of my good friends, Jeremy Sherpa Man, he and I used to get out in the woods all the time. And I think the first really good trip that we did was on the Vermont Long Trail. And so we went up there, spent, I don't even remember, 3 or 4 days hiking up there, slogging through mud, ankle deep, sometimes a little bit deeper mud, and just had a good time. After that, uh, we were always looking for a trip, something we could go do. And at the time, I was in the military and I was actually stationed in California, and I was reading a book, probably the first book that really got me into the Appalachian Trail. And it's a book by Jeff Alt, and it's called A Walk for Sunshine. And it's about him doing a walk for charity to raise money for his brother who's in a home. And so it got me to thinking, we could do something like that and use our hiking, use our backpacking for something worthwhile. And so I've got a lot of family members that are affected by diabetes, and little did I know that 15 years down the road, my wife would become a type 1 diabetic and require insulin to survive. So we put together what we called the Hike for Hope, and we did 110 miles through. It started pretty much just before and ended a little while after Shenandoah. So we did all of the Shenandoah National Park along the AT. But that's kind of what got me going into that. And since then, it's just kind of been a passion. I've read just about every book that's ever been put out there about the AT and watched, all kinds of videos, all kinds of movies. I still read trail journals pretty much every year as people are doing it and follow people through there. So it's really cool as the blogs have kind of turned to vlogs and more people are doing that. And you get to watch them and live vicariously through them, because I don't think at this point, with a wife, 3 kids, and a steady job, I'm going to be getting out to do that for quite a while, at least until retirement time. So let's take a look, see a few questions that popped up here. So Bob, Up Trail 71, Said, since you've tried so many hammocks now, what one is your favorite? Ooh, that's a tricky question. Might upset people. Uh, Actually, if I'm being completely honest, I haven't got enough time in several of them to really say. But of the ones that I do have quite a bit of time in, the Chameleon is still my favorite. A very comfortable hammock, has a lot of functionality, a lot of it's a very modular system, and every single day it seems Dutch seems to be putting out more and more accessories that go with it, and just really increasing the way it can be used, where it can be used, how it can be used. So that one's kind of a no-brainer at this point. Now, I do love my Sparrow. I'm starting to get a little bit more time in the Warbonnet Blackbird XLC. Haven't gotten any good nights in it, though, yet, so we'll see. And then the Shell-Toey half-shell Zip is still a really good option. But for me, for right now, I've still got to go to the Chameleon. So, all right, Jeremy said, was digging the new pack. What's the new base load? I don't know. I actually have not put together a full loadout and weighed it for a while, so that's something I'm going to have to work on. But I do anticipate a 2018 lightweight loadout for my summer. Backpacking is coming up in the very near future. All right, Warren asks, what one piece of gear, if money was no object, would I really want? That one dream piece of gear. So I've got an 11-foot Cuban fiber tarp with doors from Hammock Gear, and I actually would like a little bit bigger one. I think that's probably, like a winter dream, or a big 4-season tarp with doors that's made out of Cuban fiber. Unfortunately, that stuff is not cheap, and even if someone was to hook me up with a discount, it's still really expensive and probably outside of my price range. So I'd say other than that, I've got a lot of the stuff that actually, no, wait. So filming gear. So I've been looking at some different cameras that I could use to film a little bit better, a little bit more, detail. And the one thing, I love the GoPro, but the problem with it is that it does not have a zoom. And so I've been looking at some cameras, maybe a DSLR that has a zoom feature and can record in 4K. It's hard to find. There's a lot of them out there that are 1080p, but the 4K, the price jumps up and there's fewer to choose from. So that's actually the piece of gear that I'm thinking of right now. Josh Riggs asks, firearm do you carry? So while I'm hiking, while I'm backpacking, actually no. And really, since I've moved, I haven't been carrying much at all. I used to daily carry and have my concealed weapons permit, so completely legal doing it that way. But I have not been since I moved, and I have not gone through the process of getting a new concealed weapons permit for Oklahoma. I'm not against people carrying. I think everyone has the right to do what they feel is necessary. I actually feel safer in the woods than I do walking down the street. So for me, I'm not that worried about animals. I'm more worried about people. So yeah, now I have not been carrying when I hike. Plus, even if you go with the lightest guns out there, you're still talking pretty much a pound, if not more. So that's that. So Josh is looking forward to my new pack vid. Yep, that one will be coming. Well, the loadout anyway. That'll be coming. So Jeremy wants to know, he's got a buddy that needs a hammock. If I was gonna recommend one, what would I recommend? So, really got a couple of choices there. I would recommend something that is not symmetrical, isn't asymmetrical. Something that you can lay either direction. Just because when you get into it, you don't really know. You don't know which way you lay. Unless you've borrowed someone's and gotten a few nights in it, you don't know which way you lay. So I would say something that is symmetrical. If you've got the money and you want to invest in it, a chameleon would be great. Otherwise, great hammocks to get into. I've done a couple of reviews on some of Warren's, the Cedar Ridge Outdoors. Uh, he's got some great entry level type stuff out there. No bug net, with a ridge line, symmetrical, that you can get into at a really decent fair price, and beats the hell out of an Eno. That's for sure. All right, Josh says he's with Bob. He enjoys the half-wit on backpacking trips. Uh, sleep in a DH every night. So I have my Darien, and that's going to be my go-to backpacking hammock, just because it is the lightest one that I have currently that has a full integrated bug net. I did enjoy the 1.0 half-wit, but I've kind of gotten over it. The half zip, or the half net, you couldn't really have an organizer up overhead, and so to me it was kind of a trade-off there. Add a little bit of weight, get full coverage, never have to worry about my feet slipping out from under my quilt, or on those hot nights. I mean, how many nights have we been out there where it's just been a hot, sweltering night, and you pull off the top quilt? If you don't have clothes on, or you don't have long pants on and socks on, and you do that in the half-wit, your feet are now exposed, and you're going to get bitten up, especially if you live somewhere like South Carolina, where I used to live, where the mosquitoes will literally carry you away. Oh, man. So Warren just ordered a Hammock Gear 12-foot Cuban fiber tarp with doors and camo. Thanks for rubbing that in, Warren. Maybe I need to start making and selling gear so that I can afford to do that, because this YouTube thing isn't paying the bills. So Elijah says, can't beat Dutchware Gear netless hammock for the money. Yeah, I mean, that's another way to go for sure. Definitely quality stuff. A lot of great vendors out there for sure. So Dutch didn't join on here, Warren did. So I'm going to go ahead and support Warren on this one and say, hey, go check out CRO. And Josh is saying the same thing. So thanks a lot, guys. Just get what I want. Hey, Brosif, what's going on? Do I find the hammock cordage tie-outs to be a problem when under the tarp with closed doors? Do you prefer hammocks with or without tie-outs? And this is from JCTCBC. All right, so I got the Chameleon. The Chameleon was the first one I had really that had pullouts, and I pretty much never used them. And then I got the Darien, and I ordered it without pullouts because I hadn't been using the pullouts on the Chameleon, so I didn't think I needed them. I went with a wide, it's a 1.1 or 1.2 Robic XL in the wide. And because I'm not all that tall, I'm only 5'7", 5'8", right in that neighborhood. Because I'm not that tall, a really windy night, I had a lot of excess fabric that was flapping around. And so I ended up having to send it back. I know I've told this story before, but I sent it back to Dream Hammock, and they put the tie-outs on it for me. So now I actually, I have that one, I have the Sparrow, and I have the Warbonnet Blackbird XLC, and the Chameleon, all that have tie-outs. The Chameleon is the only one that I still use without the tie-outs. The other ones, I use the tie-outs every time. Now, and the Sheltoe half-shell zip also has the pullouts. So what the pullouts do is they really do help to keep the bug net off of you and really expand the area inside so that it's a much more roomy environment inside of your hammock. And it's just nice. It's nice to have that room. Now, when you do have the tarp deployed, what I have tried to do is use one of the tarp stakes to attach my pullouts. So on the Sparrow and on the Darien, they're offset. So there's one at my foot and one at my head. And I take those to the two corners that are associated with head and foot on my tarp. For the Sheltoe and on the Warbonnet, they aren't quite set up that way, so they kind of go out on their own. I will admit that under a tarp, it becomes a little bit harder to deal with the lines, and those late night P calls make it. They do make it a little bit more difficult, a little bit harder to get out without tripping over the stuff. But you know, I do appreciate the room that it gives me inside, and so it's kind of one of those things. It's a trade off, and you deal with it. Ah, Talby, a Talby. Ever tried the Hammock Dremor? So I've seen a lot of videos on it. I have not tried it. To me, it seems very finicky. Like there's a lot that goes into getting that thing set up and set up so that it would be comfortable. You have to have a specific kind of inflatable pad to go with it, which actually I do have that kind of pad, so it would work. Um, but it also requires a very wide tarp. I have wide tarps, so maybe that would work. Um, but no, I don't have one. I've never felt like I wanted to buy one. I kind of like the side to side rocking. I'm not sure if I'd like the front to back type of rocking that you get with that. I don't know. Maybe I would. Who knows? But no, I have not tried one. If anyone has one and they want me to try it out, go ahead and send it to me and I'll try it out for you. So scrolling back up here, what cook stove are you using? Well, Bob, I think Josh down below kind of answered that one for you. So yeah, most of the time I use the Spiguyver stove. However, if you've watched a lot of my videos recently, I've been switching it up, and pretty much every trip I've been taking a different stove. I've been using a lot of wood stoves lately. I've got the Chiwiz, that's Qiwiz, Chiwiz Firefly, and that's a little titanium, very, very lightweight stove I did a review on. I really like that one. I think that's my favorite, probably the best burning little wood stove I've used. I also have used the Tokes one that I got from Warren, and then some of my other ones like the Fancy Feast knockoff one that I use. It's made from the Starbucks and the small soda can. I like using that one. And then if I'm doing any dry baking, I really like the Mini Bull Design Choke Hazard. So those are kind of the ones that I use. Brosif says, I have hammocks, let's see, but I've never camped in them. I want to just not set up. I guess. Okay. Stowe, I got you, man. And you're not going to go wrong with an UGQ. I mean, their stuff is solid, and that pole mod is awesome. For those of you guys who have never seen the Underground Quilts, one of their hanger tarps, or even their Winter Dream with the pole mod, that thing just is awesome. The way that you can stake it out, and it's very hassle-free. You can actually have your stakeout points and then loosen the front ones, tighten the back ones, and it goes into a porch mode just by rotating. And it's a really cool deal. I like it. I think it's awesome. Every time I go to a hang that Missy and Paul are at, I go over and I just drool over their stuff. So I love their dragon scale stuff. Missy's tarp is always a favorite of mine. Yeah, Josh, you've been using the Spiguyver stove. So I have noticed that your inner ring, the inner piece of your Spiguyver stove, has a little bit of deterioration up along the top. And I'll tell you how that happens. I'll tell you why that happens. So because that's such a thin gauge aluminum and it's so lightweight, I mean, you're talking a 4 to 6 gram stove. I mean, that thing is super light. But when you're done boiling water, when you take the pot off, if you leave the pot off with it still going, it really deteriorates that inner ring, the aluminum on there. So after you take off the boiling water, pour it into your pot or pour it into your bag, put a little bit of water back in there and just set it back on the stove, and that deterioration completely goes away. I mean, I've been using one for, it's going on probably a year and a half, coming up on 2 years, and no deterioration at all. It's got some dents in it, it's got some dings in it, but no deterioration. And that's what I found the problem was, because I did have one that I had been taking the pot off as soon as it was done, and I noticed that it got really, really brittle, and I was able to chip the metal completely off. So something to think about if you want to build a new one and try that. So Elijah asks, he says he's been considering purchasing a 1.0 weight hammock, currently sleeping on a 1.9 ripstop nylon. It's 195 pounds with clothing. Thoughts on stretch and durability? Is the weight savings worth it? I think at 195 you can probably get away with it. I know that Beekeeper is actually using a 1.0. Well, one of his hammocks is a 1.0 half-wit from Dutch, and he loves it. He loves the way it feels, and he ranges between like 195 and 205 probably. So I'd say, yeah, it can work. Is it worth it? Depends on how rough you are with your gear and whether or not you like stretch. There's going to be a little bit of stretch in a 1.0. I actually didn't like the stretch as much as I thought I would. The 1.6 is actually my preferred fabric. No cool people here, Tim. And yeah, where's the next trowel video? Where's the Tim Watson branded trowel? That's what I'm waiting for. I will buy that one. I'll get rid of my little deuce scoop and grab a Tim Watson one. Warren has a problem with stoves. Warren, I've got a whole bunch of stoves as well. I think I did a video probably a year or so ago that I went through cook setups and went through some of my stoves, and a couple people said I had a problem. Well, since then, I've probably gotten another 6 or 7, and if I had the money, I would probably have some more coming. I've been considering, getting just to do comparison videos and stuff. I'm considering getting a BRS, a new pocket rocket too. The batch stoves, BS 1.1. Mike's got that one. It works really well for baking, and you can boil on it. So that's something else I was thinking about. But, yeah, we all have problems with gear. Broseph, you definitely need to get out there and do some hammock camping. Now, I will say, I almost every trip have a problem sleeping the first night unless I'm doing big miles. And then after that first night, I sleep like a baby in my hammock. But that first night is always tough for me. I don't know what it is. A lot of people have that problem when they go out into the woods. It has nothing to do with the sounds. It has nothing to do with being scared. It just has to do with being in a different environment, sleeping in a different way. I know that some people sleep in a hammock at home, and that may actually alleviate that difficulty once you move out into the woods. So Stowe asks, have you tried the Ridge Runner yet? So the Ridge Runner itself, I've laid in, but I've never actually had a night in it. It's a cool looking hammock. I like the saddlebags that it's got on each side. It was, for me, every bridge hammock I've laid in, with the exception of the one that I tried out from Junebug Dawn from Palmetto State Hangers. I did a little short review on her. She did one on for a bigger guy, for bigger guys. But I did like a short review of it in one of the Palmetto State Hangers hang video, the group hang videos that I did. And it was the only one that I've had that didn't give me shoulder squeeze. Even laying in the Ridge Runner, I got a little bit of shoulder squeeze. I don't have super wide shoulders, but I definitely don't have narrow shoulders. And to me, I honestly prefer the way that it feels laying in a gathered end. Just me. Everyone has their own preference, and if you like the Ridge Runner, go with it. So Jeremy, All Things Outdoors, says he's 195, has a 1.0, has been using it for a while, and it's been working out great. So there you go. Already talking about poop trials. Yeah, Jax, you definitely don't want to mix. You don't want to have Tim's videos before Jax's videos, because you don't want to be talking poop before you're talking about food. So make sure you watch Jax's videos, then go to the Tim videos so that it's the right order. Evan with Evans Backpacking says we're all cool nerds. Well, I guess. So Jack said he just did a video with the BS 1.1 the other day. Solid stove for baking for sure. Yeah, we used it. If you take a look at my Foothills Trail videos, I think it's the last morning we were on the trail. Well, actually, almost every morning we did some baking. But on the last morning, I think I did a little baking using that stove and did a little bit of review on it. So yeah, it's out there. It's a good stove. I like that it's got the adjustable flame, which is pretty cool. Hey, Warren, thanks, man. So Warren's gonna send me another stove that I can test out, and we'll see how that one works out. So is that the Siphon, or is there a new one that they've got coming out? Either way, awesome. Rocking the Ridge Runner next weekend in Arkansas. Yeah, R. Pelton, go for it, man. If that's what you dig, you do that. The BS 1.0. Which one is that, Josh? I don't think I've seen that one recently. Is that actually one of the soda can ones? Talking gear. Yeah, man, that's what we all love to do. I mean, I think any one of us could probably talk gear longer than we should. Uh, you know, I love my gear. Still trying to figure out, we talked about it already, that loadout video on the lightweight stuff. So I've got to decide, do I go do I do a video where I go like super super lightweight and go with the lightest stuff I have, or do I go with really what I'm gonna carry, or do I want do one of each? My this is really what I'll go out and backpack with, and then this is what I could get it down to. I don't know. I could go either way on that. All right, cool, Josh. Fuel cubes. Yeah, I've tried those. I used to use them a long time ago, uh, but I haven't in a while. So I bought the Esbit setup, and then had bought some really cheap trioxane fuel cells or fuel cubes on eBay, and they worked like crap. And so since then, I just haven't bothered with it, and I've gone back to the. Actually, from there, I went to canister stoves. Had the original pocket rocket. That's what I used back when I did the that longer section hike, the 110 miles with Jeremy Sherpa Man on the AT through Shenandoah. We used the pocket rocket, and that's the one that malfunctioned, and I had to MacGyver it, which earned me the trail name Spiguyver. So kind of cool stuff. It's funny how everything kind of ties together. Yeah. All right, so it is the Siphon. It's a cool stove. I remember, someone was just commenting about how they liked some of my alcohol stove videos because they've missed everything since Hiram went away and isn't doing the all the different tests and showing how the stoves burn and how quick they boil and all that stuff and what the different heights will do. They've been watching some of my videos and we're appreciative of that. So yeah, it's kind of cool to fill a gap. A couple people have mentioned, Rob from how Backpacking Adventures disappeared, and so they've kind of some of those people have come over to mine, and then you've got some people that watched Hiram that have come over because of that stuff, and then you've got some that watched Jax and they just don't really like Jax anymore, so they come watch. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone likes Jax. How could you not like the bearded hiker? I mean, come on. That is just I can't. I'll never be there. All right. So, stoveless. Crazy Kev going stoveless. So, Crazy Kev, question for you on that. Are you going to do cold soaking, or are you just going to go with no prep type foods? I could do the no prep foods. They're a little bit heavier, though. I could not do the the cold soaking thing. I mean, really, if you're going to do that, what's the point? You're carrying the water in a container with the food while you're hiking, because it takes 4-5 times longer to reconstitute something if you're using cold. So really, what's the point of doing that? At least for me, I don't see the point in doing that versus just carrying an alcohol stove, which is 5 grams, and then 8-10 ounces of fuel for a week. For me, that seems to be the better deal. All right, so Up Trail 71 wants to know future Spiguyver backpacking trips. So the next trip will be I'm going to Eagle Rock Loop in Arkansas, and I'm going to be meeting up with another viewer, somebody that I've actually met up with on the trail before. We sat and had a little conversation. Um, but yeah, we're going to be meeting up, heading out, and we haven't decided yet exactly how we're doing it. That trail's really cool because there's a lot of water crossings and a lot of elevation gain, a lot of really cool cliffs and other cool stuff. Uh, but we're talking about maybe doing some swapping of gear and doing some tests. That I'll bring a bunch of gear and we'll do swapping every night to get some different perspectives, because that's something that I've been talking about wanting to do, and it may give us a good chance to do that. Ever plan on going to Maha? I'd love to. Problem is I've got to prioritize what I do, where I do it, when I do it, because I only get a certain amount of vacation with work, and I've got 3 boys and a wife, and I need to stay married, and I need to make sure that the kids don't disown me. So I kind of have to prioritize exactly what it is I do when. They're really good about letting me have pretty much like a weekend every month to go out and do my thing. And then sometimes I can bring them along with me, not the wife. We've tried that before. That didn't work out. So the kids sometimes will come with me. And then I get to meet up. Like this summer, they're planning on going to California, visit family. And I've kind of been given the okay to go do some hiking, do some backpacking. And it may be out in the Sierra. It could be in Colorado. It might be in Utah. We haven't really made the decision on exactly where it's going to be yet. But look for that. Look for that this summer. It's going to be a big trip, and we're not sure exactly where yet. So that one will probably be Whip Snake, Sherpa Man, and Beekeeper along with me. So another good trip, really good trip. Something I'm really looking forward to trying getting done. A lot of people are going stoveless, but us coffee people need some hot water. Yeah, you're right about that, Josh. Absolutely. So Warren, yeah, I knew you guys were going up to Shenandoah. He'd been talking about that, and so yeah, you guys are gonna have a great time. It's a great park. Can be busy, can be really busy, but it's really cool. They call them waysides. I think throughout that park, there's like 85 times you cross the Blue Ridge Parkway, but they have these things called waysides where you can get blackberry shakes and burgers and whatever else you need. So that's kind of cool. Something different. Something you don't get on every trip. So you can actually, if you plan it right, you can pack a little bit lighter and eat there. Yeah, no cold soaking, good. I was kind of thinking the same thing you're thinking, kind of nasty, but some people like it. I'm not that person. So, R. Pelton, you're headed to Eagle Rock Loop? Awesome. So, keep me informed on how it goes, how the water levels are. That's something that I want to keep track of. So, Crazy Kev, he likes freeze-dried fruits, nuts, peanut buttery, and tuna salad, and whatever else you can find. Yeah, that's all great stuff. Actually, the paleo meals to go, while their meals are so-so, and if you're into the paleo thing, that's the way to go, very fresh. Their pineapple bites are awesome. If you can find those or get them on a deal, on sale, get them. They're pretty awesome. I was thinking they were going to be kind of weird. The texture was going to be weird, and they were pretty much my favorite thing I got from Paleo Meals to Go. Evan's backpacking is going to go stoveless on the AT. I know quite a few people who have done it, who have gone stoveless, who like that style. I'm still waiting to see a good review of that crotch pot. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you haven't seen it, go Google crotch pot and see if that's something you're into. But if someone has one and they want to see me do a review on it, don't send it. No one wants to see that. No one. Even my wife does not want to see that. So talking about some of the people doing the AT, there are a lot of really cool ones out there. The one that I've been watching a little bit of lately. So I mentioned the Jessica one. You guys probably know Gary from Frozen, from Outdoor Adventures. So he's started doing his videos and is getting ready and is pretty close to hitting the trail. But the one that I've been watching that's been cracking me up is IBTAT. That's IBTAT. If you're easily offended, don't watch it. If you can't watch a Restless Outdoors without being offended, absolutely do not go check out IBTAT. But if you don't mind a little bit of swearing, a little bit of cussing, okay, a whole lot of it, go check him out. Funny dude. I really like his stuff, and I've been enjoying it. Been to Linville Gorge. Yeah, we went to Linville Gorge. We went up to, where did we go? We went up along the Blue Ridge Parkway and did some camping, and then went down into the gorge, went to the falls, went to Linville Falls, and kind of hiked around a little bit. I haven't been out there backpacking, haven't gotten a good long trip out there, but I have been out there, and it's gorgeous. Beautiful area to go, and definitely somewhere I would look at going back to again. It's a little bit further away from me now that I'm in Oklahoma, but still something I would consider. Oh, JMT. So Patrick, JMT is definitely one of those that is on my list of gotta do it. I've been on parts of it. I lived out in California for quite a while, and I did a lot of hiking out there. That's where I really got into backpacking, kind of on my own. I did the stuff with Jeremy, Sherpa Man up in Vermont. When I moved to California, I really took that with me and did a lot of backpacking on my own. I was in a tent, but you'll forgive me for that, right? Uh, but yeah, got up into the Sierras a lot. Spent a lot of time in Yosemite, Tahoe. I helped work on the Tahoe Rim Trail while I was up there. Would spend weekends up there just volunteering, working Tahoe Rim Trail up north, just above Incline Village on the north side. So I'd love to get up there at some point and do the full Tahoe Rim Trail. It's like 100 miles or somewhere right around there. JMT is definitely on my list. That's what, like 260-ish, something like that. I've done parts of it through like Ansel Adams Wilderness, Devil's Postpile. One of my favorite campsites ever is along that section, and it is Thousand Island Lake. You get there, you've got just these gorgeous views. You're below Banner Peak right there, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. How do I have somebody put an inappropriate message and it won't let me see it. So whoever did that, let me know. It wasn't gonna. For some reason, it's not letting me see it. So along with the JMT, there's also the High Sierra Trail. That's another one that I really would like to do out there. I've seen DCF whoopie slings guidelines. Would it work? I don't think I'd do a DCF hammock. So a Dyneema Cuban fiber hammock, because it doesn't breathe, and that's going to create, it pretty much becomes a vapor barrier beneath you. So it'd be like sleeping on a one of those emergency blankets, and it's going to cause a lot of condensation beneath you. So oh man, so I'm kind of reading ahead, and I saw Tim Watson said Gary started already. So he must have just started, because I was just watching his stuff just before I came. I'm in San Antonio right now for work, and so I've been pretty busy. Last night I did some filming and a bunch of editing to get out the video this morning. So it's been a few days since I've watched, but oh well, I'll be watching Gary and hoping he makes it, and wishing him the best. Yeah, if I make it out to Cali, I've got a list of different ones that I want to do. some that are a little less known, some that are the more famous ones. You know, if you could, we had talked about putting together a plan, Tahoe to Yosemite. Not sure if we do the PCT or actually the Tahoe to Yosemite Trail, which goes off and it has a little bit of route finding in there, which interests me. It's something I've enjoyed doing. So that might be something else. Yeah, I'm glad Gary's filming too. Uh, can tell he's not all that comfortable with the camera yet, but he'll get there. Uh, yeah, he'll get there. Yeah. So Stowe, Ibitat is definitely entertaining and one of those good dudes. What's up, Ian? Hey, glad you could make it on here. Twig stoves, bush buddies, stove. So yeah, I mean that's earlier on we were talking a little bit about stoves. This is for Mike Jones, and so some of the wood burning stoves that I've used, I've got the Toaks larger one. That one works pretty well. It's good for if you want to have like a little, almost like a campfire. That one's pretty good for that. I also have the Chi Whiz Firefly, which I really like. Definitely my favorite. And then I did a test of the Tato Gear Element, and then I gave that one away. And I really like that one as well. But I think my preference right now is definitely that Chi Whiz Firefly. Little titanium one, super lightweight, packs down completely flat. I put it, I actually put it inside. It comes in a little, like a thicker mill plastic bag, and I put that inside of my Reflectix pot cozy, my actual, the one that I use that's just kind of flat for the bags. And I put it in there, and that's where I carry it, and it works great. Backcountry Exposure, welcome, man. So Backcountry Exposure's got some hammocks headed his way, and he's going to be getting into a little bit more of the hammock stuff. So awesome, like hearing that, like seeing more awesome channels getting in on it. I'll have to check that one out, Mike. I have not seen that one. Uh, definitely more YouTube than TV, without a doubt. Uh, although when I do these trips, I tend to watch a lot of Netflix. I end up doing a lot of Netflix binge watching when I go on trips. Download them onto my phone and watch them on the plane, and then once I get to the hotel, I end up wanting to watch more of what I was watching, so that ends up happening. Restless Outdoors, dude, it's a powerhouse, chock full tonight because you're on. I already mentioned your channel once in here. You weren't even here to enjoy it, so the Restless one, right on. So Josh asked, did I have a full length of mule tape on that hammock in the last vid? No, it was actually 15 feet of the Myers Tech Dyneema strap, the Dyneema webbing. Um, but yeah, it was hanging there. I mean, I ended up, because of the width between those two trees, I think I only had about a foot and a half of webbing to the continuous loops on each one. So had quite a few feet just hanging there. Wood pellets. I've seen wood pellet stoves before. I've never used wood pellets in any of my stoves because that would mean I'd be carrying them, and that kind of, to me, defeats the purpose of using a wood burning stove out on the trail, because the enticing part to me is that you can carry something like the Chi Whiz, which is super lightweight. I want to say that one's like 20 something grams. I'd have to go back and look, but I can carry that and no fuel whatsoever, so it beats out almost every stove out there for weight, and then just pick up fuel as I go. So that one's cool. Yeah, so that chair, dude, it's a hotel chair. It's pretty sweet. I'm gonna take it home with me. So I have this, and I can do all my videos from this chair. This will be my new video chair. So Restless Outdoors, talking about being a ground dweller. You know, backcountry exposure is still a ground dweller. He's got a couple of trips coming up, and he's going to be on the ground in those. So you're not that outnumbered. I mean, I even heard a couple people today talking about they were getting tents, even though they sleep really well in hammocks. There are times. There are definitely times. You know, we've talked about some of the trips up in the Sierra, and once you get above tree line, you really don't have a whole lot of options on hanging a hammock. So at times we're all going to be forced to the ground. We did the Smokies trip not that long ago, a year and a half or so ago, and we were forced to sleep in the shelters. So we were on wood, which probably is just as bad, if not worse, than the ground. Hey, Dan. Tahoe to Yosemite Trail. Sweet. Yeah. So that's one. I think we may still end up doing that one at some point. We're really interested in it. And haven't decided, though. You know, the fact that there are some off trail pieces of that, it definitely slows you down and you can't cover as much ground, which means you either need more days to do it or you're going to do a shorter section. But I'm down for that. Snow in Utah is making it hard. Yeah, you know, we haven't had too much snow around. We had a bunch of ice come through last week in Oklahoma City, slowed things down, and kind of put a little bit of a damper on doing a lot of filming. But I got done what I needed to, and we got out, did a little bit of family hiking this weekend, which was great. Brian, that's very observant, man. Yeah, I am head left, foot right. Wow, totally against the way that I lay. I guess I guess chairs and hammocks don't really have a good correlation. Yeah, you know, so Restless just pointed out that Devin's been from backcountry exposure. Devin's been doing a lot of, he calls it thread injecting. I'm gonna go ahead and just, it's sewing, and he was called out as being a seamstress, and he's made a hammock. He's now made a brick, kind of like what Warren makes, and so it's looking pretty good. I mean, I was pretty impressed with what he put up today. Um, there's a reason I buy gear from people that do it well, and that's that I probably would end up spending more trying it than it costs just to buy it from the people that are good at it the first time. So what else you guys got? Man, it's been a quite a week here. It's only Tuesday. It feels like I've been gone for a while. So I came down here yesterday for work. Had quite an interesting day today, and as soon as I'm done with this, I've got some phone calls to make and some more emails to send out. Kind of goes with the new job title and everything that goes along with that. But you know, I enjoy it. Many people have asked about what is the best budget tarp. Um, there's a lot of great tarps out there that are relatively cheap right now. When I started with the tadpole. That was kind of the go-to, cheap, easy to get into, like $80, $85 tarp when I started. But now, I mean, there are so many great ones out there. The two that I would say are right up there as the best low budget tarps right now would be anything from the Penny Pincher series from Underground Quilts. If you can get something there that's in a color you like and in the cut you want, go for that. Otherwise, Cedar Ridge. Sorry, I had a little bit of this moonshine. I had a couple of these tonight, so had to. But anyway, Cedar Ridge Outdoors. If you watched the the Butterfield hiking trail video that Beekeeper and I did, he has a new tarp from Cedar Ridge Outdoors. Showed it in that one. It's a robin's egg blue, really cool. It's got doors. Uh, those are the things you wanna look for. Those two, I would say. Any more trips planned with outdoor adventures? So he went live the other night. I was testing out to figure out whether or not I could get this live thing going. He jumped on and said hi, and then he started his own live feed since Bob had one going, Adventure Archives had one going, I had one going. I was only on for like less than a minute just checking my stuff out. But then he popped up, and so I just kind of threw it out there. When are you going to come out my way since I went up to Pennsylvania? So it looks like we're going to try and work something out and figure out a time. The thing is, he's trying to save up as much time and money as he can at this point because he wants to do the AT next year. So I don't know. Maybe we can get him to tag along on one of the other trips that I'm planning, or maybe we can meet somewhere where it's a little bit less expensive for him, and we just get it done. But yeah, I'd like to do another trip with Frozen. I had a lot of fun on the Laurel Highlands hiking trail with Meerkat, Frozen, and Gary, and was a little jealous when I watched the video where they had Tim along with them. Tarp with doors is definitely worthwhile. I really like the doors. It shuts it off, kind of keeps the wind, and it gives you a little bit of an insurance barrier there. Because you may set up for what the wind is when you set up. You want to set up so that the wind is hitting the side of your tarp. But when a storm rolls in, sometimes the winds shift. And if you don't know which way that's going to be coming from, it could come straight down through the middle of your tarp, getting you wet, and that's not fun. So having the doors does give you a little bit of insurance there. Later, Broseph. So you're going out to Butterfield. Actually, you know what? It was not Butterfield. I did Butterfield, and that's where I met Chris, and Chris and I are probably going to go out pretty soon together. But it was actually in the Kisatchie National Forest. That's where the video was, where the Cedar Ridge Outdoors tarp made its debut with Beekeeper. So Devin, I've been thinking about it. As soon as I can, I would like to get out there, and that's one of the places that we had been throwing around. Sherpa Man, Beekeeper, and Whipsnake and I. That was one of the areas we have thrown around as potentially getting out to. Depending on what happens with some stuff from work, I may actually be able to, sneak in a trip out that way. So. Keep me in the loop with any trips you're going on that you think I might be interested in, and maybe we'll be able to work something out. Desert is pretty epic. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those formations and stuff are just awesome. I saw a little bit of the, I used to fly over it and see it quite a bit, but I did get to see some of that in the Badlands and up in the Black Hills in South Dakota, and those were just awesome. So yeah, I'd love to get out there and do that. So I think that Wilderness Trail and Merrimack State Park is something that's actually on a list of things that I want to do. I do actually have some work that I need to do up in St. Louis at some point. Been talking about that for a while, and so I may be able to combine a work trip with a little bit of backpacking and get up there and do that one. Another one that I'm going to be doing is outside of Independence, Kansas. There's a good trail that Chris Rexwinkle put me on. I think that's going to be one of my next weekend trips, and I might be able to get one of my kids out there. I think it's only like 9.5 miles each way, and it's an out and back, but it's got some really cool features. To me, some of the pictures and video I've seen of it, it kind of reminds me of some of the sections of the Laurel Highland hiking trail, which was pretty awesome. So, looking forward to it. So what else have we got, guys? Got about 5 minutes before I'm going to jump off of here. So, any last questions? Throw them out now. So Josh asked if I would use the hammock while on the JMT if and when you do it. So I've asked a couple of my friends who actually live out there. So it's kind of funny. When I lived out there, I started something called the, what was it? NCH, the NorCal Hikers. So I started this group when I was out there, got stickers, decals made up because there was a group of Pacific Northwest guys that had these decals made up. They had them all over their cars, and so we were trying to copy what they were doing and get a group like they had going. And so I've kept in contact with a few of them that are out there that still get out so often, uh, and that's really where I learned about the High Sierra Trail, and got a lot of the information that I needed for some of my other trips. But yeah, I've asked them about whether or not I could do the JMT using the hammock, and they said as long as you plan it right. And so the last section, once you get near Mount Whitney, is going to be the hardest section. As long as you stop somewhere prior to Guitar Lake and you can hang there, you can make it up over and out. So that's the one section that's the toughest, but pretty much everywhere else, as long as you can find a spot below tree line and you're not too set on camping at any one specific location, you really can do it. So I think I would try it. We'll see. Northern Michigan. Yeah, I would definitely like to. Dude, I would like to go all over the place. If I just had, a year off and a bunch of freaking money, I'd go hit everything up. I don't know how some of you guys do it. I don't know. I really don't know how some of you guys get out and do the trips that you do and do them as often as you do. Man, I'm jealous of some of you guys for sure. Absolutely. The name of the trail near Independence. It's some city lake. Um, I can look it up and let you know, but off the top of my head, I'm not. It's not coming to me. If Chris was on here, he would tell you exactly what it is, but I'm not. I'm not sure what it was. Um, Superior Hiking Trail. Yeah, I would not mind doing that. I kind of like hitting some of the trails that people haven't heard as much about and seen as much. I know they don't get as many hits on YouTube as Superior Hiking Trail or Appalachian Trail or Pacific Crest Trail, but I like showing people other stuff that's out there too, because there's 100 videos out there on the Superior Hiking Trail. Doesn't mean I don't want to do it though. The rusty trombone. So today I did a review on the Reach Around backpack, and there's a lot of interest in that, the Reach Around. A lot of people like the Reach Around, and Restless Outdoors seems to be one of them. Really likes the Reach Around. Doesn't want to leave without the Reach Around. So next week he'll be showing us the rusty trombone. So we're looking forward to it. Colorado Trail, absolutely, yeah. So Colorado Trail, when I was a big time into mountain biking, it was something I wanted to do while I was mountain biking, and now as a backpacker or back into the backpacking game, it's something that I'd like to do again. It's one of those things that, yeah, it's a great trail. It's in a great area. It's beautiful, and it's challenging. So I'm all in. Yeah, and it's close to me now. It's not, well, close. It's probably 12 hours away, something like that. So definitely something I'd be interested in doing. All right, guys. Looks like people are starting to run. Bob, see you later. Devin, take it easy. Put those kids to bed. And hey, guys, I appreciate you guys checking in. Wasn't sure anyone was going to show up, especially those first couple minutes. It was kind of slow, but I appreciate it. And thanks for the great questions. Think of some more, because we'll do this again. All right, guys, I'm out. See ya. See you down the trail.